I have a feeling that, I don't know. I'm not going to make my picks. How about that? I'll just keep them anonymous.
Varsity status does not ensure wins, does it? If only it did.
Absolutely.
Well, so far we have Harvard kicking off to Northern Iowa.
Harvard wearing black, Northern Iowa wearing the purple and gold jerseys.
And early on, Northern Iowa able to get a hold of the ball, but Harvard contesting well at the breakdown. A bit sloppy here. Harvard now has possession of the ball.
Absolutely a little sloppy, but obviously Northern Iowa putting some pressure on this Harvard squad, so we'll see. Harvard's going to have to consolidate this ball, take care of it very well in order to keep that pressure at a minimum.
Absolutely. Looking at our first scrum of the game to Northern Iowa. Referee not entirely happy with what he saw there, having a chat there with the front row, saying we need to get this technique right, make sure everyone stays healthy. No injuries. And here we are, Northern Iowa pushed a bit, but able to secure the ball, looking to spin it out wide. Some big, powerful ball runners from Northern Iowa on the outside. Harvard does well to wrangle them in there. Oh, but hands in the ruck against Harvard. So if that's a penalty for Northern Iowa, who is looking to test this outside early.
Yes, they are. And a bit of a mishandle there. It's going to result in a line out. Ball goes into touch. So Harvard's going to get an opportunity here to start some things of their own.
Well, credit to Harvard. They are very, very physical in the contact area. Not all the biggest players in the world, but they are certainly showing a lot of heart.
And that out, I don't think the ref caught it, but that line out there, he did catch it. So that's a free kick to Iowa.
Looking to run it up early. Not much on. Harvard swarming on the defense, but a nice run there. Number 10, Carly West.
Excellent run, however, mishandle, a little knock on there by number 5. And, you know, that speaks volumes to these handling errors. We've seen a number of them. I mean, what do you think these handling errors are attributable to, Brad? We thought this morning it may have been wet grass, wet ball, but we continue to see them. They've cut down quite a bit. What do you think?
Well, certainly the conditions, you'd think the handling would be a bit better. But in these sort of situations, this is the national championship tournament. There's a lot of pressure on these players to make something happen here. And it looks like number 10 is certainly trying to make that happen. Sometimes players just can get a bit excited. Maybe they're not paying as much attention. They're looking for the run, not so much the pass. But my heavens, there's a lot of physicality going on out there. These ladies want to win this game.
Yeah, that number 11 for Northern Iowa, Mariah Hinton, definitely coming through on that ruck, clearing out some folks.
And we have a bit of a maul situation. Not often you see mauls these days. For those that aren't as familiar, a maul is a situation where players keep their feet, they wrap up in a tackle, players not able to be brought to ground, both teams then allowed to push on that. But not often you see that, but obviously I think it speaks to that physicality we're seeing there in that tackle area. Folks are just not giving ground. They're not going to ground, nor are the defenders giving up.
Absolutely. And, hey, that makes for, again, an exciting match for everyone to watch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No scores yet. No scores yet from Northern Iowa in the purple or Harvard in black.
Huge overload, however, if Northern Iowa can capitalize on this. Didn't quite have the speed on the outside to turn the corner, but they're doing a great job of reworking this ball to the other side of the field.
Certainly they are. Good cover defense from Harvard. Sevens defenses, you tend to see a little more fluidity, a sort of a bend, don't break approach. Maybe give a little bit of space on that outside so you avoid those inside breaks that can be so dangerous. Harvard doing a good job to scrape across that field. Northern Iowa, maybe a little disappointed they couldn't make more of that. But as you said, you got to have speed to take it on the outside.
And if you don't, again, as you said, if you don't have speed, you work the ball. You've got, a field width of 70 to 75 meters. Work it. You have that. That's how you tire your defense down, create holes, and blast away. Put your strong runners through those holes. And then, obviously, support.
Yeah, another scrum here. Northern Iowa able to take that ball. They're trying to run the short side of the field here, using those powerful ball runners to suck in defense from Harvard, really wear them out and hopefully open up those spaces outside, as you mentioned, Phaedra. Now Northern Iowa with that strong ball carrying up the center once again.
Yes, that's number 3, Megan Flanagan, with a big run through the middle.
And here we are. Northern Iowa now powering up. We have on field 2 for those paying attention. We've got Stanford women against Sam Houston. 0-0 result at the moment, but hopefully looking for a winner there as well. We'll keep you updated as that occurs.
Northern Iowa putting down the first try of the match. That's number 10, Carly West. First try of the match. If you're just joining us, I am Phaedra Knight, and I am joined by Mr. Brad Kilpatrick. We are here at the 2012 USA Rugby Women's and Men's Collegiate Sevens National Championship. Beautiful college campus we're on here at Texas A&M University, and we're in College Station, Texas. I don't think it could be better. The weather's nice. The rain's held off. Wind's a little bit of probably a non-factor in terms of play. It's a beautiful day for rugby. It's a beautiful weekend.
You couldn't ask for much better than this. Certainly lovely temperature. The nice blue, cloudy skies, really quite picturesque for a weekend of rugby. On the field, though, it is anything but serene. These two teams going at it, hammer and tongs. We've got Northern Iowa finally putting something in. Throughout the match, certainly both sides have been very physical. Northern Iowa seems to have controlled the game more. Certainly very, very physical. Lots of one-off running in the middle of the field. Big, powerful runners. But Harvard doing a good job so far of holding that despite the dominant possession of Northern Iowa.
Yes, they have. But that was a big tackle by number 11, Mariah Hinton for Northern Iowa to put enough pressure on this Harvard squad to create a turnover. Ball went into touch. The pressure that I've been really impressed with the defense of Northern Iowa right now. I mean, they're not necessarily respecting that Harvard has varsity status at this point. They're just playing. And that squad has a reputation of creating some really good players. They had Jen Sinkler, former U.S. rugby player, both 7s and 15s out of Northern Iowa. So they've had their share of successful players. They know how to win, and they have a really good program there.
Absolutely. Well, we see that, a one line out for Northern Iowa. Moving the ball out, not quite going to hand there, but recollected nicely. And this is out to a powerful runner here on the outside who has a nice strong fend here. Yes. Number 11 just not able to finish it off, but number 5 is.
And number 11 set that up for her. That's Mariah Hinton. We've said her name a couple of times now. Nice offload on the floor. As number 5, that Angie McCardle puts it down for another 5.
That was fantastic support play from number 5, Angie McCardle, able to finish off that nice, powerful run. So important in sevens, isn't it? It's not just about the individual effort. Rugby, you've got to support the ball runner just in situations like those, don't you?
Absolutely support. Those defenders are right there to tackle. And the cool thing in this day and age, the defenders get back on their feet, they can contest that ball. So that support needs to be there immediately, either in the way of rucking or in the way of receiving a pass off the floor, as you just saw.
Rugby, it's a continuous effort sport. There's no downtime. There's no plays. You've got to make sure you're always supporting your man and you're always there to turn that ball over. So we have here going in. We've got a score line of 0 Harvard, 12 for Northern Iowa. So far, tough game, but Northern Iowa seems to have had the majority of the ball, the majority of possession. Certainly very, very physical. A brave Harvard effort so far, but they got to get some points on the board here.
Yeah, at this point, I think it comes down to who just wants it more. And it appears that Northern Iowa, they're supporting, they're running hard, and I think hard running, creates holes in the defense. It draws in defenders. It creates overloads, and we've seen that throughout that first half. Overloaded players. They minimize their mishandles and their mistakes, and that helps as well. And as we get further and further into this pool play and into more like the quarterfinal and semifinal play, you'll find that the errors will probably minimize. The cream will rise to the top.
As teams tend to get used to it. So now, how big of a factor do you think that fitness is going to be in this? Harvard been made to defend strongly here, but unfortunately, playing defense oftentimes is more tiring than offense, and you're running with the ball. A lot of defense here from Harvard. Done a great job to keep the scoreline at 12-0, given how little ball they've had. But you got to imagine fitness levels, as hard a sport as this is already, we're going to see some heavy breathing from Harvard here in the second half. How important is that going to be in this outcome?
Fitness is huge. I mean, this is the second game of the day, so these legs aren't as fresh as they were earlier this morning. So fitness is going to be a huge, huge component in the outcome of this ball game.
Certainly a lot of downhill running from Northern Iowa. Hopefully they look to keep that trend alive as they kick off here. Harvard just over their heads, not ready for that kickoff. Ball goes out of bounds, but bit of a mistake there from Harvard. You need to get a hold of that ball, don't you?
You can never let that ball hit the ground.
Never let it hit the ground.
Your feet are moving constantly as you wait for the ball to come. When your feet are in motion, it's a lot easier to move and react. And so Harvard's got to be ready. They have to be ball hungry. And again, at this point, Northern Iowa up to this point, they've been moving.
Absolutely. And for those just joining us, Northern Iowa is in purple. Just scored a try there off of a line out. Again, set pieces, we keep coming back to it. So important now in sevens. You got to win that. Obviously, the issue there at the restart, Harvard not getting under that ball, letting it go out of bounds. You're forced into a line-out situation rather than a guaranteed possession if you receive the ball. And then we see here, they lose the line-out. Northern Iowa puts one in off of that inability to collect their own restart. It's going to be tough.
Typically, teams, particularly in sevens, the focus is not on the set piece. And so it's one play at a time, though. And that set piece is as crucial as that open field pass and catch. And so, as you stated, if Harvard doesn't focus on, the task at hand at each particular breakdown of the game, they're going to find themselves in a trailing position for the rest of the game. So they've got to commit to each phase of play and make sure they win it. Win each phase.
Well, absolutely. Harvard's got a bit of a hole to dig themselves out of here. With that score, we have Northern Iowa at 17. Harvard is 0 at the moment. We're in the second half, 5:30 to play. Quite a bit of time here, but things have to change pretty dramatically in terms of Harvard's ability to make some points come on the board here. And they are looking to do that now. Bit of space on the outside. Got a speedster.
Oh yeah, she may go all the way. I don't think Mariah's got the legs to keep up with her.
Well, that's a bit of a track meet there on that score. That was a really, really nice effort from Harvard. They needed to answer back. You're down by a few scores there. What a fantastic way to say, listen, we're not cowed by the fact you just scored a few tries on us. We're going to answer back with one of our own.
And that was number 1, C.J. Jaramillo for Harvard, who ran approximately 90 meters to dot that try down, bringing the score, Harvard 7, Northern Iowa 17. If you're just joining us, we welcome you to the 2012 USA Rugby Men's and Women's Collegiate Sevens National Championship. I'm Phaedra Knight, and I'm joined with Brad Kilpatrick. We hope that you can tune in to us at youtube.com/USA Rugby TV. And if you aren't able to get to YouTube, follow us on Twitter at USA Eagles Rugby and use the hashtag College Sevens to join the conversation. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/USA Rugby.
And you're going to want to do that quick because our action is back underway here with Northern Iowa versus Harvard. Northern Iowa in the purple, Harvard in black, with Northern Iowa up 17-7. But Harvard looking to make amends for a tough first half here. Won their line out, looking to run it out, put in another great score like they just had. Northern Iowa, of course, got different ideas in terms of what they want to see happen here.
And they've got another speedster on the field, but she looks a little bit isolated right now, Brad. She's got to keep her feet until her support can get there, and she manages to offload the pass to number 7, who's going to make her way into the try. We've got a different ball game altogether right now.
Absolutely, we do. That is number 7. Number 7 for Harvard. A fantastic effort on the outside there. Got that space. Did a great job there. Number 11 for Harvard, Aniavette Abasi. She got a bit isolated, which is very dangerous in sevens, obviously. Defense can turn the ball over, given the continuous nature of rugby. But a great job there of following up that pass. And then you see the results there. What happens when you have a good follow-up, a bit of speed and some space, eh?
Yep, she kept her feet. The key was keeping her feet and buying herself some time because she had a couple of defenders on her. She offloaded the pass. It wasn't a perfect pass, but it was enough to get the ball back and into the hands of her teammate, who just took it in for another 5 points.
Well, we've got an absolutely different ball game in our hands, certainly. It looked to be a one-way traffic from Northern Iowa there in that first half, but Harvard, different ideas. And now it looks like they're nice breakout here. It's a track meet to the finish line, and Harvard going to put it in.
Alexandra Brown just dotting down another 5. I mean, an interesting turn of events here.
Absolutely.
Incredible. It lets you know that in the game of sevens, you can't count anyone out at any point in time.
Can absolutely turn on a knife's edge in seven. So much space. If you're able to open them up, scores can happen quickly, as we have seen. Harvard coming into the second half without a single point on the board. Now, looking to make it 21-17, which they do with the conversion. And this ball game has changed completely here. Northern Iowa, you see a lot of folks, hands on knees. Now they're the ones having to play defense the whole entire time. Fitness.
You said it. You said it in the beginning. You said fitness would be, and we said that fitness would be an issue. And it's not only the physical fitness, but in Harvard's case, it's the mental fitness, all right, to turn things around. It fuels the body. And as you stated, Northern Iowa's got the hands on the knees. So let's see if they can do something in this in the closing minute of the match.
Yeah, it is still anyone's ball game. Sevens rugby, as we have seen in this half, scores can happen quite quickly. Got a minute. Only 4 points separates them. One score ball game. Northern Iowa in the purple, hoping that they can get that one score and walk away with a win here. But Harvard in black,
they are
doing their best.
They are bringing the defense, absolutely. They're putting the defensive pressure on this attack.
Oh, but a penalty to Northern Iowa. Looks like hands in the ruck or in from the side from Harvard.
Yeah, I believe that was an offsides, and Northern Iowa's got a couple players down. So we're going to take a minute here.
Hope that is nothing serious. Hopefully it's just some cramps from all the running. Interesting here. Again, it's sort of a testament to what you see out of that mental fortitude as you spoke to. Harvard, maybe not the biggest team, especially as you compare them to this Northern Iowa squad that has such big, powerful runners, but really ferocious in how they're defending here, doing a great job of holding off those Northern Iowa effort, and now we see the result. Certainly, fitness and desire seems to be carrying Harvard through quite well. Still anyone's ball game here, but much more even fight here. Two different sort of styles of play here. Harvard spinning it a bit more the running. Northern Iowa's been a little bit more power game that seemed to be winning the day early on, but as you see here, things can change quite quickly.
Things can change quite quickly, and yes, Harvard's doing a great job coming out of the second half, not counting themselves out, and it's things like that. It's this tenacity of this women. Both teams have displayed this tenacity. Unfortunate Northern Iowa did it in the first half, and now it's the time when it really counts. And Harvard's pulled it in, but this fever, as you call it, is what empowers women all over the country and to want to play rugby hard, to get better at it. The sport is growing among women incredibly, and it's just amazing to be inspired by teams like this, by play like this, to really make things happen.
Well, and as you said, Women's Eagles, it's an exciting time for women's rugby. Olympic sevens rugby is now an Olympic sport here. Our USA Eagles women's are going to be Olympians coming up in 2016. Right now, our USA Eagles women's, they are playing in Dubai as part of the Sevens World Series. But they will actually be coming to Houston, Texas on February 1st and 2nd. This is the inaugural Women's Sevens World Series here in Houston, Texas. Going to be a very, very exciting time for us. First time this has been on U.S. soil. Everyone, make sure you support this. We have tickets for that match are on sale now at www.bbvacampusstadium.com. We want to make sure, again, a historic event. You get to see actual Olympic female athletes for the first time in Olympic sevens, in rugby sevens history. We now have Olympic athletes for the women. Make sure you go out and support them. Get your tickets at www.bbvacampusstadium.com for February 1st and 2nd. We also want to make sure that we thank our sponsors. Emirates Airline as the title sponsor for hosting the 2012 USA Rugby College Sevens National Championships in College Station, Texas. And also thanks to our other sponsors for USA Rugby: Canterbury, AIG, Gatorade, Gilbert, and WorldRugbyShop.com.
And Northern Iowa is off to the races here, trying to make something happen in these closing seconds of the match.
Yeah, we had a couple of injuries there to Iowa. Northern Iowa, we are now back. It is a one-score ball game. Harvard trying to defend desperately to eke out a win here. But Northern Iowa, they have to make something happen here. They are just as desperate to put this score in. Getting the ball out.
They've got to get this ball out very quickly. They had a couple of players tied up in on that tackle on Mariah Hinton. Perfect opportunity to really get that ball out quickly, spin the ball out. But they didn't really take advantage of it, and their support needs to get there right away if they're going to have a chance to recover this ball, keep working it. Just phase ball. They've got to maintain possession at this point.
Oh, and a dominant tackle there from number 11, Eniabet Abasi, showing that she's got a lot of desire to snuff this thing out before it starts. Wonderful tackle there. Harvard able to recover the ball. Knock on from Northern Iowa as a result of that physical pressure. And it looks like unless there's some injury time,
that's the ball game.
That's going to be the ball game.
Yep. We close out this match. Harvard winning, coming from a pretty deep deficit, 21, defeating Northern Iowa, scored 17 points in the first half, and came up with no points scored in the second half. Great match, incredible match, hard-hitting, great hard-running. You couldn't ask for anything more from both of these squads. They may see each other again. I mean, this was good rugby.
Absolutely. That is the kind of match that you want to see, men's or women's. That was a tight ball game. Very, very physical. Lots of athleticism on display here. A lot of heart, a lot of tenacity. Both sides. Very physical at the breakdown. Very physical in the contact area. Some nice individual efforts from both sides to get in some scores there. And as you said, what more can you ask for than a team to come into a second half, no points on the board, down by a few scores, and then to turn that right back around and gut it out with a win. Excellent match, the sort of rugby we all want to see.